This is the She Dares to Travel podcast, and I'm your host, Raquella Pollock. After spending a decade managing the #1 travel agency in Canada and now working with tourism businesses in risk management, I am here to connect you with women who are taking the travel industry by storm, as well as business professionals with a passion for travel, just like me. We are here to inspire, motivate, and uplift you to not only follow, but plan out your dreams, no matter where in the world they may be. Be sure to leave a review, subscribe, and follow along. Welcome back, all you daredevils, to another inspiring episode of She Dares to Travel. Today, we have the pleasure of hearing from Nickie Mabey, who is CEO and founder of Mabey Ski, and we get to take a peek into the world of adventure and luxury travel, two of my favorite things to talk about. Nickie has a lineage steeped in skiing passion that has spanned over 4 generations, which I was absolutely intrigued to read about, and I'm so excited to hear more about too. Her journey on the slopes began at a very young age, and it's evolved into this thriving career in the adventure tourism sector. Her path to founding Mabey Ski was shaped by years of globetrotting, organizing corporate events, and crafting these bespoke ski experiences across places like Japan, Canada, Europe, and far, far beyond. And her company has become synonymous with unique adventures, from skiing into volcanoes, yes, you've heard that right, to heli-skiing from yachts. Incredible to even think of how that can all happen. And she really offers clients this unparalleled access to the world's most exclusive ski destinations. So we are going to hear all about Nickie's personal journey today, her insights on building a successful adventure travel business, and her passion for blending the luxury of the travel with the authentic local experience. So sit back, enjoy. I am so excited that you are here. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me.
Happy to have you. Whereabouts are you right now? Where are you joining us from?
I'm actually in Chamonix in France, so over in Europe.
Beautiful. Have you been there for a while right now, or?
Coming up to a year, but my team's actually based in London, so I bounce between the 2 locations, working in London and then kind of playing in the mountains.
Gorgeous. And how far? It's a quick flight over, wouldn't it be? Or do you usually train, or how do you get there?
Yeah, no, I'm an hour from the airport, and it's just over an hour's flight to London. So it's really easy to commute back and forth as well. So yeah, super easy.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Well, I'm enthralled. I was reading more about your history, your journey into skiing, and I want to chat about your family. I know that it's the 4 generations really blew my mind. And I had this instant thought, if you didn't go into skiing, would that have been a bad thing? because your whole family is in it. So
yeah,
was there no choice? You just had to.
It's funny you say that, because I initially started in the ski world. My first job out of school, I headed over to the mountains first. I was in New Zealand, and then I went to France, and then I worked in a ski company in London. So I was straight into the ski industry, and then a move took me over to the other side of the world in Singapore, and guess what? No ski companies over there. So I actually ended up in the corporate world for a while. Doing like events organizing and marketing. But yeah, my family's definitely, from both sides, actually really passionate skiers. So my parents met through skiing, my grandparents met through skiing, and my great grandmother was even skiing before chairlifts were invented in 1912. So she was skiing in, long woolen dress, blouse, 2.30 meter long wooden skis. So it's totally different to anything that you see today. Really inspiring. And then, yeah, my whole family are, still really keen skiers. My cousins are racers, and it was definitely on the cards. And I always knew I wanted to be in the industry. I just didn't know what that looked like. And then it sort of came about whilst I was in Singapore, actually. I was traveling back and forth to Japan. It was my closest ski area. And I was like, wow, this is so different to anything I've skied in Europe or North America. And I was just like, it just opened my eyes to a whole new ski holiday, I guess. And the more I learned about Japan, the more I sort of discovered that actually it wasn't being delivered by other ski companies. So the more I went back and forth, I was like trying to discover on my own what else was out there. I wanted to immerse myself in more of the culture, experience more of the local foods, because I found the ski trips that I was booking through other holiday companies, you were very much based in one resort. You were eating in restaurants within that resort with other tourists. And even though it was more Japanese culture than I'd experienced before, the more I went back and forth, I was like, no, this is what everyone's doing. There must be so much more beyond this. So that was sort of the beginning of Mabey Ski, of what sort of got me excited about what else was out there, what else could be done. But yeah, it all stemmed from the family originally. Yeah.
Absolutely. And how did you find the transition from the corporate world of planning events? And what type of events? These were all, business, large, were they 300 people plus kind of idea?
Yeah, I mean, a total mix, to be honest. Some of them in the thousands, big corporate events, some smaller, trips to Bali to recognize top salespeople, smaller, other smaller events as well for wine tasting, etc. So a real mix and size and location. But yeah, really, I mean, interesting for me. It was as interesting as the corporate world could get. But I was starting to itch after 6 years of quite restricted, I guess, boundaries, and there was just so much more I wanted to do. So yeah, it was a refreshing transition, terrifying, as you're taking a huge leap. You're used to a nice cushiony salary, and you've got your annual leave planned out, your holidays planned out, and then suddenly you're sacrificing it all and putting your savings into this new company that you don't know if it's going to work or not, and at the beginning people don't take you seriously, and it's the ski world's quite a man's world as well, and I was coming in as this young woman, and at the beginning I wasn't taken seriously at all, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And big case of imposter syndrome, which a lot of people have, but it was real that first year especially, and just sort of powering through and being like, no, this is going to work, this has got legs. And the more, from the very beginning when I started organizing those trips, it was just hearing feedback from people being like, this is the best ski trip I've ever been on. And I knew I had something. I was just like, you've just got to cut out those other voices, and these old men who have been in the industry for decades and probably aren't keeping up with times and innovating. And so it was daunting, scary, and super exciting all at the same time.
What year was that that where you pivoted, or that pivot? What year was that happened, that you made that change?
So it was 2016 to 2017. And I took some time out. I actually did some work experience for it was a proper job. It was I worked for a luxury travel agency for a year. I just wanted to get as much knowledge and experience as possible, so I knew that was what I wanted to do. And I just threw myself in and worked super, super hard, just trying to learn as much as possible, and then threw myself in at the deep end. And so 2017 was when I officially launched Mabey Ski.
And never look back. Isn't it unreal? It's
COVID.
but this is true. The hiccup that we don't like talking about. This is true. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then 2020 happens, which we'll touch upon too. But isn't it a wild thought that, still 8 years ago in a industry that's been around since, back in the 1900s, the early 1900s, that it is still very male dominated. And it is something that we come across a lot with speaking with other women that are CEOs and founders in different aspects of the travel industry as well. I want to know when you had the pushback. And I'm sure there was some females, some males that pushed back. But in this industry, what is it? Was there something that really you kept telling yourself, or was there advice somebody gave you that helped keep you going in that first year when that imposter syndrome, I call it like the naggy little voice, just came in?
Yeah.
What would you say was something that was super helpful?
Yeah, and actually, going back on what I said about, some men being difficult. On the other hand, there were a couple of men that were super helpful. The CEO of Oxford Ski, Rupert, I reached out to him early on in whilst I was setting up, and asked if he had time for a meeting, that I'm looking to set up this business, and would he spare an hour of his time? And absolutely. And he's a busy man. He is a 25-year-old plus company, and very, very successful. And he gave me an hour of his time, and he gave me some amazing advice, and talked about how most travel companies fail within the first 3 years, and it can take a while to break even. And if you can make it to that 5th year, then you're going to succeed. But it was some crazy stats, like 90% of travel businesses fail within the first 3 years. And I was just like, oof, that is rough. But I think having that in the back of my mind, being like, okay, that's the norm. I also don't want to be the norm. I don't want to fall into that. And really just, I guess I kept listening to that advice and being like, okay, you just got to get through these first 3 years. Of course, those first 3 years was also when COVID hit. So I got an extension. I gave myself
good for you.
It was really great advice. And honestly, just hearing back from other CEOs, I reached out to a lot of people, just getting advice from people who'd been through the same things. And it was amazing to hear how many people, would spare their time and would share their advice. And that was really cool. So I'd recommend that to anyone who's starting up. Don't be scared to reach out to anyone that seems, too far above.
Yeah, great advice. Very good advice. It's true. Sometimes you just need to ask, because if you don't ask, you don't get, or you don't know. And we don't know what we don't know. So the snowball effect is there, but having the courage to ask is so important. Would you say that there's anything starting, because how old were you when you started skiing with family?
I guess 2. once I could walk, I had little plastic planks strapped to my feet.
Oh, that's
I'm not sure we could
adorable.
call it skiing, but
No.
that's what my parents
pies?
like to say. Yeah, exactly.
Down the hill.
Yeah,
The pizza pie. That's how I ski. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That's how I ski lately. Would you say there's anything that you draw upon from your childhood experiences of skiing that you bring into your company now?
I don't know if it's necessarily my childhood, but I think from other family members, it's more about pushing boundaries. Again, thinking back to my great grandmother, Dorothy, that was unreal to be a woman skiing at that time, before chairlifts were invented. And another one of my aunties, I've got 5 aunties on my dad's side. They're all super keen skiers. They were coined the Swiss family, maybe, in an article somewhere. But one of them was the first women to ski, to race for the British University Ski Club, and it was quite a big thing at the time. It was a male-dominated sport, and she had just been selected for the British team, and so they were like, okay, we can let her into the to the university ski team as our token female, and then that set a new trend, and then eventually it became a mixed competition, and then I got to do the same competitions whilst I was at uni, and it was very cool just thinking back to, wow, my auntie was the first female ski racer for British
Wow.
University, which is pretty cool. So I think more so my family heritage than my upbringing. It's really just about keep challenging the conventional and pushing back and what can be done better, and not just on your like by yourself, but society. Society often needs to change, and to be strong at what you're good at. And so I guess that's probably more my inspiration.
Beautiful inspiration, and a great reminder too. Again, just voicing what it is that you need and being creative, and that's the entrepreneurial spirit that you have in you. Clearly, to think this idea, to see that there is something that's missing and kind of fill that gap. Speaking towards the tours and the travel experiences that you created, the company that you have, Mabey Ski, is known for these really authentic ski experiences. You touched upon having the local authenticity and mixing it with luxury travel. Talk about a bit more of what type of experiences people can have, and maybe like a standout, or what your most popular destination is for a lot of skiers.
Yeah. Japan, hands down, number one destination. We
I love
started
Japan.
there, and I
Yeah.
love it so
Yeah.
much. Yeah,
Hmm.
it is awesome. Yeah, I think it's. I mean, I don't know if you know about the snow conditions over there, but it's
No.
got some of the best snow in the world, and
Hmm.
they receive 13 15 meters a season, and it's kind of like chicken feathers. It's so light and fluffy, it just falls from the sky. It's incredible. Don't get me started on that. But it's not just the snow, it's the culture, the food, and it's a totally different ski trip to what you would experience in Europe or North America. And we're trying to bring those authentic experiences throughout our ski trips. So, as I grew up skiing, I knew ski holidays, taking a plane, transfer to a resort, getting your lift pass, staying in a chalet or a hotel for a week, and skiing that one resort, return home. Very fortunate to have grown up doing that, but that copied and pasted over a few times. I have no idea which resort was which. They all started to blur into one. Then I went to Japan and I was like, wow, this is so different. And so we really try and bring through all of those local experiences in all of our destinations, so not just Japan, but and our guides. We offer an on the ground concierge service through our ski guides, and basically that's allowing our guests to experience the real Japan. So they're not just skiing. Our guides will pick them up from their accommodation, but they might stop off at a Japanese bakery on the way. They wouldn't be able to do that. They wouldn't know where that was without the local insight. Japan especially, you can't just Google things in the map unless you speak Japanese and can write in katakana. So finding all these little hidden insights and local knowledge, finishing your day at a traditional onsen, which is like a natural hot spring. They're amazing. Or guide taking you out to the coast after a day skiing, and eating like the best sushi you've ever tried whilst watching people ski down a mountain, and just bringing all of those local experiences into our itineraries. And then we do the same in each country. So Norway, we do some sail and ski trips and go fishing off the boat, so you can eat fresh cod for dinner, and yeah, lots
Wow.
of.
Sounds incredible. How many countries are you offering experiences in right now?
So it's constantly growing. At the moment, I think we're at 7. The goal is to offer ski trips across all 7 continents, but we're really hot on having firsthand experience and building up those relationships. Our contacts on the ground become our friends. We speak, our guides in Japan, we speak to almost every day. Like that's how much we're working with them and how good our relationships are with them. We're like really, really good friends with them. And that's super key for delivering, the most personalized experience that we can on the ground. We really listen to our guests, but not only listen, but ask questions as well. We try and find out as much information as we can to really understand our clients and try and find out more than they would imagine they would share, in a polite way. We're not
of course,
we're not asking too much, but we want to know those little nuances, or what's their favorite bottle of wine, or would they be interested in going fishing, or just sake tasting, or tagging on a karate class in Tokyo, or so it means we can share all of that information and organize any little surprises along the way, and just really getting in-depth information from them.
Yeah. With being a tour operator, I know that it, of course, can come with its challenges. I used to manage a large travel agency. You get all walks of life all the time.
Thank you to Hotel Zed Kelowna, Victoria, and Tofino for being our sponsor. You can also save 15% off your next getaway using the code DARES2, DARES 2, the number 2, at hotelzed.com. These funky and unique hotels are in British Columbia, and they're going to have you not wanting to leave while you're on your next vacation. Enjoy!
Are there any clients that stand out with one that was really, really challenging, and how you guys overcame maybe something that they were requesting or needed? Or if there's nothing that comes to mind, on the flip side, one experience that you have that was just a standout, really memorable moment that you've had with guests?
Yeah. I mean, we for sure have some difficult guests. It comes with the territory of luxury travel. But I also love those kind of clients. It's so rewarding when you deliver a good service or exceed their expectations. And I think from the offset, they think you're going to fail. And they have their level of service that they're used to. And we have some clients in Asia who travel with a full team of helpers, chef, butler, and so they're used to a service that is delivered in their exact way that they want it, and surely no one's going to be able to match that. And we're not trying to match that, but we're trying to understand it as much as possible. And so it's really important for those type of clients to speak with the PAs, the butlers, whoever's going to be on the ground with them, and make sure our team have a really good understanding of what that service looks like. This one particular client wanted Fiji bottles of water ready on the table at every restaurant with 3 glasses, that's with 3 ice cubes in each glass for each person. I was like, wow, we really don't do that in Japan, but we can make that happen. And we've had another client who wanted to hire out a really exclusive restaurant, very, very small. It only seats 8 people, and we're normally right there 3 months before when the bookings open, reserving them for our clients that want to book in there. Wow. And this one particular client wanted to book it out every single night. We was like, why? And he's already traveled with us before, so he knows that there's amazing restaurants in Niseko. This was, but he insisted on booking out this restaurant every single night.
Wow. And got it.
He got it every night, but he couldn't even fill it every night because his friends wanted to eat elsewhere. And it was just quite embarrassing for us to,
Mm-hmm.
and he ended up saying, well, let's bring people off the street to come and eat with me.
Really? And did they come? Did
They
people
did,
come
yeah.
to eat with him?
They got a free meal in a very, very nice soba noodle restaurant with a soba master, which is pretty special.
What was the name of the restaurant?
It's Rekuichi.
And this is in Japan? Yeah. Wow. Unreal. Well, and it's unique, right? And I know that there's quirks. You always hear famous singers like to have only red M&Ms in their dressing room and things like that. But I can imagine it is this level of eliteness where you're used to a certain luxury, or maybe you've grown up with that luxury. So understanding is key, just like you said.
Yeah.
So interesting. Very, very interesting. How would you say the challenges that you have, and how large is your team that helps with all these bookings and the guides? How large is that at Mabey?
So our team in London, we're just 4. We're about to hire a couple more people. But our team on the ground are really, really key to delivering those experiences. And like I said earlier, we've got such a strong relationship with them, speaking on the phone daily and constantly on WhatsApp. So I guess they're an extension of our team, and we couldn't do it without them, to be honest. We love what they do, and we're a great partnership, and we give them business that they love, and they deliver a service that we love. So it's it's a good partnership. But yeah, they're definitely the key
Teamwork
to
makes
the
the dream
operation.
work. Yeah, very true.
Sure
And
does.
all of them, I can imagine, have that problem-solving mentality to overcome the challenges, figure out how they can get to them, communicate. You know, it's travel in a nutshell, really.
Yeah.
If you're working as a tour operator, travel agent, whatever it is. Where have you skied?
Ooh.
All continents?
Not yet. No,
Okay.
that's the goal. Along with the business goal. It was kind of my goal first, and then I was like, this should also be the company goal.
Good
If
goal.
I'm wanting to ski all of these continents, I'm pretty sure our clients are too. So I've skied, I mean, most of Europe. I spent my whole childhood skiing across Europe, a lot in France, Austria, Switzerland, Italy, a lot in BC. I was based in Whistler for 3 years, which is where we expanded our operations over there. So I spend a lot of time around there, doing a lot of backcountry. Actually, we do some great backcountry base camps there, winter camping, and then New Zealand, that was where I first did my ski instructor course, spent some time over there. Not the best snow, but it's a really, really cool place to bring in different experiences. We did a very cool trip for a honeymoon couple. It was heli-skiing combined with wine tasting, where they heli-skied during the morning, and then we flew up the winemaker to meet them on the mountaintop, did some wine tasting, flew back down to the vineyard, and they changed their shoes, and then we had a tour around the vineyard, more wine tasting, and then back home. But that was very cool. In New Zealand, you can make anything happen, which is why it's one of my favorite countries. But it's and very cool people. Yeah. And where else? Yeah,
What about bucket list? What's tallest on your or highest on the bucket list to ski next?
Yeah, there's quite a lot on the bucket list.
If you had to choose one.
Yeah, and Antarctica is going to be, well, hopefully my 40th birthday. That's my plan. The next on the list. Ski touring with penguins, and take a boat across Drake's Passage from Ushuaia. I think that in itself is going to be quite an experience. It's apparently it's 50-50 whether it's calm or the total opposite, and you're sort of swirling around in a washing machine during the crossing.
My mother-in-law did it recently, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think she's pushing,
it?
She's traveled almost 80 countries. I speak about her often, but she loved it, and she said it was much calmer than she was expecting, which is nice. Yeah, but she said the best thing about Antarctica is that you can, like, it's the sounds. It's like the utmost calm, and then you hear the breaking of a iceberg in the far distance, and
Yeah,
it's just
wow.
the most unreal experience. So that I would love to hear how that trip goes once you do it, and especially to be able to
Yeah,
ski next to penguins, of course. Like, why
yeah,
not?
yeah. It's
Why not?
pretty cool. I think
So
just
unreal.
I've always loved. I've only done it a few times, but any times I've skied near the sea or ocean, it's just incredible. It's a whole new, different experience, and you feel very small, and you suddenly it's. I mean, even in the mountains, I always feel like I'm escaping, and in the backcountry as well, you're away from the chairlifts and gondolas, and you're really out in the wilderness, and you kind of let go of all your worries, and everything disappears. You disconnect from digital life because you've got no cell service, and you feel, yeah, very, very small, but it's an amazing feeling. And then when you're skiing near the ocean or the sea, it's, I think, even more powerful. It's just like, wow, it's just
Hmm.
nature really hits you in the face.
Absolutely. It's like that saying, the mountains are calling and I must go. And that's just
Yeah,
where you got to go sometimes to disconnect and really reconnect is what it is.
yeah,
To reconnect.
totally.
Yeah. With
Yeah.
the unique offerings that you offer, like this skiing into a volcano or heli-skiing off a yacht, how did these ideas come to be? And what are those two experiences like?
Do you know what? Sadly, I didn't do the crater. My colleague did it. But when I went to summit Mount Yote, so there's a volcano where there's lots of volcanoes in Japan, especially on Hokkaido. Mount Yote is a very famous one. It's kind of looks like a mini Fuji, and it's very flat land around, and this volcano just sort of comes from nowhere, and it's beautiful. It's about 1600, 1700 meters, and you tour up. So for anyone that doesn't know, you put skins on the bottom of your skis, which used to be seal skins. Now they're obviously made of plastic and and other fabric. But basically, it allows you to slide your ski up one way, and then it grips to stop you from falling back. So you're sort of shuffling your skis up to go up the mountain. So that summit it takes anywhere between 4 and 7 hours. I think it took us maybe 5.5 hours to reach the summit. But you have to
Wow.
have super, super clear skies, good snow conditions. It's quite prone to avalanches. But clear skies is really key, which doesn't often happen in Japan because of the amount of snow that's falling. So we were super lucky to have a weather window to go up and summit. But then as soon as we summited, the clouds came in, and our guides were like, we need to get off immediately. And we were like, no, we want to ski in the crater. And it's like, off. Transition quickly, we're skiing down. So sadly, I didn't get to do that. But my colleague Rosie skied it a couple of months ago and shared the photos with me, and looks incredible. I mean, exactly what you imagine it to be. And it was just like fresh snow, no tracks, and just, yeah, skiing into the middle of a volcano crater.
Wow.
And no one around. And then there's a little short boot pack back up. But yeah, I'm going back in January, and it's on my list again. So fingers crossed for
Okay.
a clear weather window. It's, yeah,
Wow. Report back.
I
We
will.
want to know. We all want to know. That is an unreal experience. And did Maybe Ski think this idea up, or was this from a guest that had seen it somewhere else? Do other people do it?
So a lot of our experiences come from experiences that locals are doing, but they're not necessarily advertised or promoted as, a tourist experience. And that's kind of the whole thing behind Maybe Ski. We're trying to bring those local experiences to our guests without them having to spend, I mean, I'm not talking about hours, days and weeks and months researching to find all of these things, and then finding the right people to facilitate them and write weather windows. And you can't just head off and go and do these kind of things on your own. You need to understand what goes on behind and when, why, etc. So just finding all these really cool local experiences, and I did the same in Whistler as well. There's so many amazing things that the locals are doing, but tourists will never hear about it. They'll hear the touristy things that are promoted by the resorts and tourism boards, and other agents. So we're really trying to bridge that gap. And because we're a small boutique company, we're not shouting about it to millions of people and going to ruin these experiences. We're sharing these experiences with our hardcore skiers and snowboarders that are looking to push their boundaries, try something new, ski somewhere else, and but without having to do all of that research themselves.
It's incredible. And I'm so excited to see where everything's going to take you next, or what new innovative idea there is, or who knows what you all will come up with, really, to find the next unique experience. As a female leader in the adventure travel industry, what advice would you have for other women that are maybe looking to leave a corporate career, which I have many women on this podcast that have left corporate careers to follow their passion in travel, but what advice would you have for them, and really for everyone in general that are just looking to do something different and perhaps take that leap into entrepreneurship?
Yeah. I mean, I think if you've reached that point where maybe you're not happy in your current career, or you're just not feeling fulfilled, I think you've already made that decision that you're going to do it. And it's really about taking the leap and having faith. I think finding a support network really helps. Speaking to other people that have done it, listening to your podcast, there's kind of things. I'm sure this podcast is super. If this had been around when I was setting it up, I'd be there every week waiting for the next episode to come out, being like, these kind of podcasts and other like startup podcasts as well are super useful, and they really give you confidence that other people have been in the same boat and done the same things. Because I think the biggest thing is usually imposter syndrome, and then it's like, oh, but I don't know how to do that. There's so many buts. But do you know what? You figure it out. And it's probably been my favorite part of the journey, is learning all these new skills that I never had. And I love running a business so much more than I ever realized I would. It's so exciting, and you're constantly developing. And I can't think of another career where I would have this experience. And when you get to the point where you've got your different measures of success, but for me, the first client that wrote such a glowing review was just the most rewarding thing ever. And it's just like, wow. And it just gives you a fire to just do more. And I think if anyone can, for me, before I actually set up my business, I organized a lot of trips for me and friends. And then from there, my friends were like, oh, can you organize us a similar itinerary? That sounded amazing. Everyone's been raving about it. And I was like, yeah, take this. And, oh, you could do this, you could do that. And, I really dove into the research phase just in my free time, just for fun, because I loved it. So I think if you're too scared to, if you're still in the consideration phase, do more research, start organizing trips with friends, and do it that way, and get feedback from everyone, and just start small. And some people can start it as a side business at first as well. It does take over very quickly, so just be prepared that might not last so long. But but yeah, take the leap and get support's probably my main advice.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Thank you so much for sharing your insight for just giving us, pulling back the curtain a bit into this world of luxury travel, luxury ski experiences, and unique ones. And I think that's the key, to think differently when you are planning your next holiday, or for those avid skiers out there, just to try something and to get off the beaten path and not keep doing the same thing, because these type of experiences in travel are really what shape us and make us who we are. And in the end, we can't take any of this stuff with us. We can only take our memories, and let's hope we have those until the bittersweet end. So I just appreciate you being here. Thank you again. Where can people find you or learn more about Mabey Ski?
Okay, so the main thing is learning the spelling of the company. So Mabey Ski, this is what I would say over 50% get wrong. It's MABEYSKI.com. So yeah, we're mabeyski.com. We're also Mabey Ski on Instagrams and Facebook. We've got a YouTube channel if you want to see what it's like to summit to volcano. We've also got a really cool promo video of our recent sail and ski trip around Norway and plunging in the Arctic waters. And yeah, so check us out there.
Awesome. I will put all the links in the description of this podcast. Thank you again. And I look forward to hearing what is next for Mabey Ski.
Thank you to this episode's sponsor, Kentucky Holidays. Let me tell you, I'm speaking from experience. I have traveled on these tours and I have seen the world in a group setting and made lifelong friends because of it. Check out the link in the episode description so you can find out their last minute deals, their promotions, and where they can take you around the world. You do not want to miss it, and you will have no regrets. Happy travels. If you like this episode, please subscribe, download a few more, and leave a review. I really would love to hear from you, what you enjoyed and what your key takeaways were. And of course, please let me know if there's any aspect of the travel industry you want me to talk about next. You can also search for the hashtag SheDaresToTravelPodcast on Instagram and comment on the episode's post with your questions. I'd love to answer them all for you guys. I hope you enjoy your day, stay so well, and until next time, fly straight.